And yo, the Sports Bag Bros podcast is back at you on a Thursday in the abyss of the sports season, which is the black hole. The NHL is over with. Yes, the Panthers have won their first Stanley Cup. I don't think we're here for that. And we know what happened in basketball just before that. We have the Celtics hanging their 18th banner. Now we're at a time where there's pretty much nothing else going on. Luckily for us, well, sports continues to go on. It's just a matter of what the hell you want to talk about. This time around, we do have the NBA draft, and if nothing else, the storyline is whether Bronny James will get drafted or not. So what's up with that?
I don't know, and I believe it's going on right now as we're doing this show.
Yeah.
I didn't even, if it wasn't for Bleacher Report sending me a notification, I wouldn't even know the draft was second round, third round, whatever was good. Is there a third round?
No third round, just two.
I don't know. I must have. Obviously, I saw
a bunch of free agents after the second round.
I wasn't paying attention. I didn't watch a second of the draft last night. I'm not watching a second of the draft today, but I can say I was surprised by two things. Biggest surprise, ZachEdey going in the first round.
Bro, you were surprised. Bro, I was like, Fred Sam, like, yo, this the big
top
one.
10,
what's going on?
Not just the first round, the top 10.
A figure lottery pick.
I don't understand. And then Dalton Connect goes number 16, 17 to the Lakers.
That, though, I can see that, though.
What?
Yo, the dude's a shooter. I mean, he's a shooter. They needed a shooter.
Know.
JJ Redick being the shooter, it was not a surprise. I remember Stephen A. might have talked about it, but I kind of looked down the periphery like, you know what, this guy would be a nice fit. I didn't think he'll end up there. But as every pick goes, you kind of make a scenario who might belong. And, hey, that dude can shoot his ass off.
I don't know. I just question what a lot of these teams are doing. ZachEdey, number 10, they need a number 9. Do they need a post game that badly? Do they need a guy to get killed on pick and rolls that badly? I mean, if all you got to do is watch the Connecticut game, they killed Edey on pick and roll. What do you think the NBA is going to do to him? We've talked about
get his points, though. They just let him get his points because they knew it could wear him down. They wore him down, and they ended up winning it. You know,
but
I mean,
on defense, imagine him playing against Dallas, and Kyrie's got the ball or Luka's got the ball. It's already difficult to guard him, and now you put this big, slow lurch lumbering on the court trying to slow it. It ain't gonna happen. You talk about a lane to the hoop, alley-oop to Lively, alley-oop to Gafford. I mean, floater in the lane all day. And it's not going to be just Dallas. Everything's going to kill him in pick and roll.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
Like Vucevic.
That was a surprise. I'm like you. I wasn't really watching the draft anyway because I've said it already before this draft came around. I'm not impressed with this draft, man. This is one of the first times I wasn't impressed with hardly anyone in this draft. Now, from when you talk about some players that might just fall, like Connect did fall, you know, you're like, okay, you start thinking of scenarios, and he falls with the Lakers, which is a high-profile team. And, you know, and so you take it from there. But I like his story more than anything else, being a JC guy in Northern Colorado and now ended up at Tennessee, becoming the SEC Player of the Year. I can see that. And then the three-point shooting, you just can't ignore that. You know what I mean? You just see the three-point shooting. I know it's not the NBA. The SEC is not the NBA. But, yo, he just has the knack for it. He has the size for it, 6'6". So, yeah, it looks like he's going into a good situation. He's not asked to do a whole lot soon. But if he does things, shows things along the way, you know, in short order, you know, they find a place for him, and he could just be that situational guy for the season. He doesn't have to be the main guy, but he has tenacity.
Right. They can have him out on the wing or on the corner, just space the floor. Your man comes off you, you're going to get it, knock down a couple threes. And, man, anybody would kill to have that job.
You know what I'm saying? I think I read a stat about him being 49% when he's unguarded, hitting about 49% from three. Man, and he's one of the best catch and shoot guys as well. So, yeah, he's going to be that kind of person that can, you know, get – because we saw during the finals, you know, you look at Al Horford, he's an older statesman, of course, but there were times he was wide open. That guy kept missing and missing and missing. He did get a groove a little bit later, and they ultimately had won, as you know. But if you can get a dude that can just come in and be like what John Paxson was for your Bulls, man, that dude that can hit the three when needed, he was getting it.
It wasn't just John Paxson. It was
it wasn't just John Paxson, but we remember the shot.
No, I'm just saying. Right. Paxson could shoot it. He didn't really shoot a lot of threes. If if you look back to that Lakers series, Game 5, most of them were like mid-range jumpers where he was wide open because his man was trying to double Michael. But as far as three shooters, it was Craig Hodges. Who else they have?
BJ Armstrong.
Yeah, BJ would shoot some threes once in a while.
And
then
of course,
Kerr with the second three-peat. But I think Connect is a real solid draft pick for the Lakers. I think he's going to be the steal of the draft. But the crazy thing to me is people are talking about the draft capital the Lakers have. They're saying maybe they can package him for another asset. I can't remember if he went 16 or 17, but either way, at least 15 teams passed on him. They could have got him for free. Why would they trade for him?
Exactly. And on top of that, look at Giannis in the past. I think he was another 14 or 15 guy that was taken. He turned out to be that kind of guy as well. I remember when they were analyzing him, they were talking about his projection. They talked about the athleticism, this and that, but he's going to be a project. It's going to take time. And look how it took. He got to there Milwaukee and he got himself a championship there. Didn't have to leave and bounce around and chase championships. People wanted to come to him, but he has his championship and he gave them what they needed in the 50 years previous. So, but this draft here, I think what stood out most importantly for me was no one likes American players too much anymore. I mean, this is the most foreign players I think that had gone. You had 6 of them taken in the first round. That's 1/5 of the draft when you have 30 picks to go with 6 of them already foreign players. And that's just foreign-born players that played in a foreign league. We're not talking about the ones who are foreign guys who happen to be here and just playing the game. Like what's the kid that got drafted by Orlando from Germany? I mean, the model. But this is what we have now. And I think it says a lot about the way they are nurturing the game here in the U.S., where you have so many players that play in isolation. They don't know much about team basketball. They don't know the fundamentals like they used to even years ago, way years ago. Guys are just so freaking athletic now, they can get away with a lot of nonsense. Maybe the NBA is getting to a point to where they want more team basketball, more of these Euros and other guys, and probably a better image, I guess, if you want to say that.
Oh, that we're going into a dangerous conversation. Going
maybe, but I've only said that because I've heard that before. I've heard that in different rooms and this and that. That kind of got a little bit, not necessarily a consensus, but I think I heard it enough to where it's something that's on people's mind. Is the NBA trying to change their image? Are they trying to get rid of the thug mentality? Why is it a thug mentality? For what reason now? Now, John Moran had brought that mentality back.
How many thugs are there? How many thugs are there really in the NBA right now?
That's what point I'm making. He was one of those thugs, but it's been a long time since the Gilbert Arenas nonsense that it was really a bad NBA. The NBA has changed a lot over the years to where it's not just ruled by thugs and outlaws. You have guys that are decent guys now. I mean, they may do their thing or whatever on the outside, but they're not pulling out guns. They're not shooting each other. They're not talking about being in gangs as past. Like, DeRozan, DeMar DeRozan talks about his gang affiliate gangs back in the day, but he's not bringing it to the court. So I'm saying it looks like the way things have gone, 6 players in the first round from Europe and other Europeans who happen to be on American teams. Man, I can see how that can become a narrative even a little louder as time goes on.
Yeah, and I question how many thugs are there in the league right now? But it's not just the thugs. I mean, remember the guys like Lloyd Daniels, the Roy Tarpleys, the guys, heavy time drug abusers.
Yes.
We don't hear about that in the NBA anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And we have more social media
guys
were
getting suspended left and right back in the 80s, early 90s. And so it's not even just guys who are thugs or come from, inner cities with gang affiliations or anything like that. It's just guys who get caught up in the game and are on drugs. We don't see much of that anymore.
Now, yeah, and that's true. We don't see much of that. And I tell you what, back in the 80s and even the late 70s, I guess in the 70s, you had a lot of the same. Remember, I think I heard Michael Jordan was talking about the kind of players that were there when he first got there. And guys pretty much was drugged out for him. They're going out all the time. And he just want to play ball and just get his game better. They're out there just partying hard. And then they were a bad team because of it. But then, ultimately.
It wasn't just basketball back then either. I mean, you think about Keith Hernandez in baseball, and
baseball, man. Yeah,
people,
cartels there, man.
guys in football too.
Football is just as bad.
I guess what I'm saying is I don't see what there is to clean up right now.
No, I don't think that.
I mean, unless you just want a lighter shade, well, now that's different, and that's bullshit.
I didn't say it. I'm just bringing it up because that's become more of a thing that I've been hearing in either rooms or different pages or whatnot, and not just now, but for a while. And this kind of accentuated it. So I was like, you know what? Why not bring that up? Because you've heard it before in the past. Now it looks like, wow, with all these Europeans coming in, especially the top 3 picks, 2 of them are from Europe. And that's just not that I can remember has happened before. You know what I mean? It's always.
I just think like last year it was Wemby, no matter what, right? Wemby was a generational talent, and he comes from Europe. And then this year, like, who's really a standout American player that? So I think that's what it has to do with. And then Connect, he's 23 years old, so people, like they if you stay in school all 4 years, NBA executives seem to think there's something wrong with him. They want you 19, 20 years old, not 22, 23. But Connect's I think he's going to be a very good player.
I think so too, man.
A lot of teams missed on him.
But don't take it from me. I thought Grady Dick was going to be a good player in his first year too up there in Toronto. He got warmed up a little bit towards the end of the season, man, but he didn't do what I thought he would do.
It's the Raptors, though. He didn't go to a situation like the Lakers, where they may not be. They might not be. The Lakers may not be contenders, but at least they got some talent there, and he should be able to complement that talent.
So now, what do you think about? We talk about these European players coming in. Then you see that G League Ignite come in. I mean, they folded now. They've been around since 2020. They folded now, and they put out about 13 players, I believe, into the NBA. It served their purpose. They were giving like $500,000 to players. At least they were allegedly giving $500,000 to players. I remember a couple of years ago, I did a channel, and I was talking about these kinds of leagues and overtime elite and how the financing for that was done. And those things are still popping, and now those players are coming out of that. Even though Ignite probably is down and folded right now, I think they've already had a template of how these things can get even bigger as time moves on, and someone else will come in with a better idea of how to do what they had done. And now that's going to be where the players come from now. The reason why we're not seeing great college basketball now, because these high school players have opportunities to go either overseas or somewhere like overtime elite or somewhere else outside of just going into just a regular college and getting paid at the same time, even with NIL.
So maybe you have a better outlook on this, or you have more information. But I get the feeling like in G League, like, who are the coaches? What type of game are they playing? Is it just like rec league games out there? Whereas in college, you have some veteran coaches, some who are very disciplinarian types, and they teach fundamentals and they help you develop as men. Whereas, is that going on in the G League or these other leagues?
I'm not going to act like I watch the G League.
That could be a difference, that's why college basketball has suffered. More talent is not going to college, so there's less greater players, and the game has suffered.
But I'm wondering how much more of a disciplinarian coach can you have in college now, as opposed to what we grew up with, watching Bobby Knight going crazy on the sidelines, or even Coach K when he was in his younger days. He was a little bit more, actually a lot more vocal. He kind of calmed down in his later years. Dean Smith, not necessarily vocal, but you knew his presence. And now we have these players that are completely different players going through these schools. And if you yell at them, they give you the side eye. Next thing you know, they're in the transfer portal. I mean, this is football and basketball. This is what we have now. So in terms of fundamentals, you have people coming from AAU, where high school football, I also made a video years ago about how AAU is more important than high school basketball. High school basketball is just a placeholder now for AAU players that just kind of freelance and do what the hell they want.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of players make their names in the summers, not really during their basketball season.
Now, I don't know if you know about this kid, the third pick in the draft, and I thought that was probably, even as far as intriguing picks, more even than Connect. But right here, Reed Shepard, coming from Kentucky, coming into third pick overall, 6'2". Third pick overall. Freshman coming out of Kentucky. Mr. Gatorade All-American in Kentucky when he came out. But he started 3 games. That's it out of 33. I think it was 3 out of 33. He only started like 3 games. 35 games, 3 games he started. And he averaged 12 points a game. But if you saw him play, I didn't see him play a lot, even being down here in the Southeastern region. I didn't see him play a lot. But when you saw him play, you can see that he's good enough. But I didn't watch him enough to see how good he is. But you look at the stats and you look at he's taking third. Obviously, these NBA teams know what the hell they're doing most times. And the early
I don't know about that.
Most times. And because the early you pick, you're getting the guy that you supposedly can build a team around, or at least he'll become a solid player most times. But in his case, he's 6'2". The deal with him, he's shooting over 51% from 3. This dude shooting over 51% from 3, but then it goes back to, okay, you don't start a lot. You're averaging about 28 minutes a game. So that's not, I don't believe, a large enough sample size. He's probably got like 4 shots a game that he takes 4 threes a game on average. And you got that nice percentage. But what's going to happen on the long term? Now, the other thing they talked about was his defense. He actually is one of these guys that has quick enough feet to play defense. And they was comparing to other players that get after the ball. So I think that's more of a reason than even his offense right now. But if you can get his offense to drop the way those numbers say they should drop, man, you got yourself a Steve Kerr, at least that way. He's 6'2".
Well, like I said, I question what a lot of these NBA franchises are doing, because there's no way Markelle Fultz should have been drafted number 1. And I don't remember who's drafted number 2, but Jason Tatum was 3. Philly messed that up. And it's no surprise to me they haven't made it to the finals. They haven't won a chip. Tatum was on the board. He should have been the number 1 pick. Of course, they just won the title, but they've been to so many conference finals. They went to a finals before a few years ago. Like, they've been right there knocking on the door. That could have been Philly, I believe, if Tatum's on Philly.
Bro, imagine that. At least right now. So
I don't have faith in most NBA franchises. I mean,
I wonder what the hell they're looking at.
My team, the Bulls, I don't know. I never heard of the guy they drafted. All I know is he's 19 years old from Europe.
Bro, I'm not even going to front like I knew these Euros coming in. I wasn't even trying to learn their names, regardless of where they played. But as I can see right now, Bronny James goes number 55 to the Lakers in the second round. Come on now. Come on. We got a clown show here. Bro, get the balls.
That's the worst kept secret, right?
Oh my, it is, man. But
they could have signed him as a free agent. Nobody else.
Exactly, because I guess they tried to save the embarrassment. Now we know that LeBron is going to sign this 3-year max contract that he's about to get. But come on, man. I mean,
he's already telling Redick what to do.
Well, Redick's like, yo, we better get this dude here. 55 overall, second round, so he can always say, I was drafted at least. The way things will turn out afterwards, man, I can only hope this guy the best, because he's never come across as a jerk off, a jackass, and all these other things that you look at these young players today, and you just like, man, just a bad kid. You don't wish the worst for him, but you just know what's going to happen. I hope things work out for him, going by the numbers, and I've watched him. He's one of these players that you could have watched for years, and you have, and I have watched him for years, the Mikey Williams deal and all the other stuff that coming through. And he's good, not special.
I don't even want to talk about him. If he didn't have the last name, I don't believe he'd be.
We already know. We knew that heading in here. But now it has come to fruition. It's coming to fruition. He's a second-round draft pick for the Lakers. Is he going to get cut like most second-round draft picks? Or they're going to try to push him to be like Jokic, the best second round of all time? Of course not. But God, it's going to be.
I'm not going to talk about a guy that averaged 4 points in college.
Exactly. It's fodder. That's what it's going to be. People are going to be on top of that, from having nothing to talk about during this black hole time of season in sports to now being able to talk about Bronny James on a team with his father. And his father always said, I want to play with my son. Well, your son came to you after you forced the GM and the coach and everybody else to come. So that's what we have right now. That's craziness, man. I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking that he would not get drafted, but it happened. And the worst kept secret in freaking basketball, it it would have been embarrassing to take him in the first round because you know what the hell you're going to get, and it would have been a wasted pick. Not even in the second round when guys typically don't hang around. Even now with all the information, we'll have to see. Will he not get picked? He's going to go to summer league, so I guess he's going to get packed because of that in Las Vegas. But this is where we at now. This is where we are, man. The love bazaar.
Well, I also saw the Spurs are accumulating future draft picks.
Yeah, I heard that too. Yeah,
and they're gonna have some major draft capital at the end of this decade.
Yeah, man. It's Spurs, bro. Pop, as long as Pop can stay there, keep it in order. He's respected as hell, so he can pretty much do what he wants, and he's typically doing the right thing. That's going to be an organization within 2 years. The way things go these days, 2 years, 3 years max, where you're going to see real results. And I'm talking continuous trips to the playoffs, possibly next year, maybe, because they, Wemby put on like 10, 15 pounds already. I just saw a picture of him last week, and it's noticeable. I mean, he probably done it during the season, but we get a chance to see the picture before and after in the beginning of last season. And now, like, oh, this dude spent his time in the gym.
I hope he put some weight on his chicken legs, man. Those things are.
He had chicken arms. Everything was a chicken.
Well, I'm just saying, but he needs the legs to support it.
Yeah. Going by the things he was doing, even without all the muscle and everything else, and not even finished growing. He hasn't finished growing yet. There's a lot more out there for him potential-wise, just growth-wise and all that. And speaking of tall players like him, Porzingis out 5 to 6 weeks now. That leg surgery puts him out. So it wasn't just a little nagging injury. It was a real injury. He still came back to play because he wanted to be a part of that championship that much.
Right. Hopefully he comes back 100%. But I don't really see it that much of a negative because if he comes back, let's say in February, he gets to they get to work him in slowly, build up his endurance, get him back in game shape, and then come April, May playoff time, he's good to go.
That injury history, though, is kind of what bothers me. That injury history that started with the Knicks, and now you're starting to see these nagging injuries at some point or another. And when he has injuries, it's not just I'm out for a week or two. During the playoffs, out for 38 days. You know what I mean? Now he has another injury after putting up what he had done in game one. He wanted to be part of this championship. But now, look, the Celtics have already proven they can win without him. Let alone in the regular season, they probably can still win without him, get themselves a 1 or 2 seed again, unless the East really does some serious things right now. The Knicks get Bridges, so they get a little closer to possibly going.
Your Knicks are doing things.
The Knicks are doing, bro, I don't know what the hell I'm in right now. They always find a way to blow it. I mean, somewhere or another, but they're doing consistently better things every year now. And it's almost like you're part of the club, man. We're part of the reindeer games now. So we're not getting kicked out.
I don't know if I agree, but I saw their odds. They're tied for second, I believe, to win the chip next year. I don't know.
I'm not going to stress the odds too much because, Vegas loses also. But, hey, as long as the way they're playing now, and if anything like last year or this past season was a projection of things to come, and now you're adding pieces to that, and then Randall coming back, man, it looks like it's going to be good on the surface. And so let's see how it works out for the Knicks. I know it's buzzing like hell up there about it. But how about Bam down in Miami getting the max contract?
Bam's a really good player.
But that max contract, I mean, they throw money at guys these days, so I can't even say $200 million plus is
right. Wow. Because last year when the cap went up, like guys were getting huge bags that you're like, wow,
not deserve it.
Yeah, every couple of days, so and so got 200 and some million. Like, wow, but it has to do with the cap going up. There's more money to give.
Yeah, but that Halliburton deal, bro. I mean, he showing that he's trying to be worth it. But damn, that's something. Sometimes you get that kind of money, you're just like, man, what could he possibly do? What could he possibly do to earn that kind of money? Next thing you know, dude's getting $500 million. And like the next 5 years or so, there'll be a $500 million contract out there. And people really going to trip down and fly the steps over that. Yeah, but that's the way it goes. But man, the NBA, man, this is that time of season when you have these free agents coming out and people getting the bag, and you're going to try to see, what was it, KD? What is he looking to go to somewhere now? I forgot which team they're looking him going to. I think was Not Phoenix. Well, he's in
I
Phoenix.
heard Houston's looking to get him, but Phoenix is on record saying they're not trading him. But we'll see.
Yes, he'll whine his way out of it. That's the way it goes these days. You know, if you don't want to be where you are, just continue to complain to the media, continue to use social media, and then act like you didn't. Then they'll just get tired of you. Just so you know what, cut our losses, man. It's not worth the headache. But this is where the NBA lies right now, man. So we had the draft going on. Now we have the second round of the draft today. Bronny James, 55th pick.
What do you think about Paul George and the Warriors going after him?
Yeah, I thought about that too. Because my son told me about that. So I'm like,
I don't think that helps him. I don't think that helps him that much.
Because they still need a big man.
Right. If they don't sign Clay, boy, so he comes in and replaces Clay. He's not as good as a shooter as Clay. He does different things.
Not as good as Clay used to be.
Right. But, well, Clay, he did pick up his shooting down the stretch. So I don't think he's done. I think he can still be a 40% three-point shooter in the league. But I don't see Paul George doing much for the Warriors. Again, I got to question Mike Dunleavy. I'd lump him in with the rest of the NBA.
You've been questioning Mike Dunleavy because he got a job. Because he's been doing things that make you question
track record. Look at his track record.
The short track record he has, man. This guy's
instead of trading for Ayton, who was in that deal, he traded for CP3. You needed a backup point guard, and then look what happened. Pajinski and played better than CP3. He worked his way into the starting lineup. So I mean, he drafted okay. We got Pajinski, and they got some good players. I don't know if Kerr's developing them. You know, Kuminga shows a lot of flashes, but then he sits a lot. Moody, he shows flashes, but then he sits a lot. I don't know if Kerr's got a big dog house or what's going on, or he just doesn't trust them defensively, but they need more than a swing man. They need a big man. In the West, you got to deal with Jokic. You got to deal with AD. You got to deal with Gobert and the trio and you know, Karl Anthony Towns, the trio in Minnesota. You got big men you have to deal with. Kevon Looney's too slow. Draymond's too small. Who you gonna have Paul George guard Jokic? Come on, man.
Well, aside from that, I've been hearing about Klay Thompson and possibly going to Orlando. That might not be a bad idea for Orlando. They're another one of those young teams that's ascending that could use a veteran presence.
Yeah, we talked about that. I just don't see Klay leaving Golden State for Orlando. Like, I don't see them close to being championship contenders. Klay, how much longer does he have?
Well, the way they're ascending right now,
I think he wants to be on a bona fide contender, and I don't think the Magic is that.
Oh no, we know that right now. But you know what? I don't think people were thinking OKC was that team that can move like they were moving last season. I mean, you saw a little bit of it the year before when Chet Holmgren didn't play. This season here with Chet Holmgren, they pushed the envelope a little bit, but you can see they got rid of Giddey, but it looks like they still could work without Giddey and still move the envelope and continue to move up. I mean, these guys, they were the third seed this past year, second seed. So they're a good enough team. Orlando.
OKC was first.
Who? KC? OKC was one seed. Then it was Minnesota after that. And then but you look at Orlando now, they're further behind than what OKC was. A veteran presence like that, wouldn't he like that? He has his rings already, so he probably has a different incentive of trying to prove something in a different area. He'll be able to do it. Boncaro's there. There's other, Cross Wildman. He can. I think he could be a nice fit in and they have all these point guards. Get out of here. I think he could be a nice fit in Orlando.
I'm not saying he won't be a fit. I'm just saying from going.
What his objective is? Does he really want to get back to the championship?
You want to go and be middle of the pack and get bounced in the first round. You know, I mean, at least he'd get in the playoffs, but because the Dubs haven't or didn't,
the Dubs haven't gotten in.
But they still have championship aspirations. You know, a move here, a move there. they're back in business possibly. Whereas the Magic, they're far away. They got a lot to do to get up to
Yeah,
that level.
and that's true. But I just see another one of those teams that young core talked about last year. Teams with young cores. OKC was one of them. Minnesota kind of young core, but has enough veterans there. Orlando is that young team as well. And Memphis would have been along with that ride too if Ja doesn't do what he
like I almost think Clay would take a cheaper deal to go to LA than to go to Magic and get a bag.
Yeah, probably true. Playing with LeBron and now Bronny and AD. Come on. You start throwing Bronny in there now with the rest of the cats. This guy shouldn't even see the light of day on the freaking court. But regardless.
I mean, and if that did happen, I don't know if it puts them over the top, but it does make them dangerous. You put Connect on one side, you put Clay on the other side.
Oh, yo, bro, that would look nice.
You open the floor up. LeBron and AD can drive at will.
Yeah, that would be
driving dish.
Perfect scenario. So I guess waiting after the draft and seeing what you have with your pieces gives these veterans a better idea of what they might want to do moving forward. Look at this. Everything's breaking out for here. Yeah, man. But yo, basketball now pretty much officially over once this draft is over with. Then you go into free agency, then you go into summer league ball. Everybody, but there's really no real anticipatory play you have out there now that you want to die. People are waiting to see. I don't think there is. I mean, now if you're a Laker fan, I would like to see Connect if he's going to be in the summer league. But I don't know, man. I want to see if anything.
It's interesting. It's just interesting to see because you can picture how he fits in with that team. But are you going to really think, oh, the Lakers are playing? I want to see how Connect does.
No, you just want to see. I want to see when you have somebody who has allegedly a special knack of dropping threes or doing something special in basketball, dropping threes.
Oh, if he gets off to a hot start and shoot 45% from 3-pointers, and the Lakers are on TV, like, I gotta tune in.
Exactly, and the thing I want to see about Reed Shepherd as well.
Night, I don't know.
I want to see how he does. Reed Shepherd is probably who I'm looking forward to a little bit more during the summer league. Those numbers, I know I want to see it on a more extensive.
I'm hearing the guy the Timberwolves picked up, Darlington, that he's going to make make a splash for the T-Wolves.
Yeah, I've seen some people give the T-Wolves like a A- grade for their draft. So, I mean, take it with a grain of salt. Everyone kind of being armchair quarterbacks, it doesn't really matter until after this season. And then at the end of the season, you can see how these draft classes really turned out. You're going off potential and things that people had done in college. Because if you're just going by what seems like a consistent train of thought one plays with in college, we would have seen ZachEdey. Whoever taken him would have got a D if they took him in a freaking lottery, man. You look at D.
So D. I heard the Grizzlies had the fewest amount of paint points. They probably helped themselves there, but they're gonna get killed on defense, man. I'm telling you. I'm a Purdue fan. I watched Purdue's games. I know his limitations.
That's the reason why he didn't come out last year. He thought about it twice. He had to get second guess to come back. This dude was an All-American Player of the Year and did not come into the draft. And luckily, he's one of those guys that can sit back and do it. And when you was talking about earlier how these teams or coaches they want the younger players, it reminds me of what happened with Shane Battier. Remember when he came out? All these accolades coming out of Duke, All-American, all this and that. I mean, everything, Player of the Year. But then all these high school kids went in front of him. And I remember how salty he was when these high school kids was going in front of him. I think Tyson Chandler went in front of him. And what's his name from Chicago? Big dude. Eddie Curry went in front of him. And all those cats went in front of him. He didn't like that, man. He was kind of in his own nice way when they interviewed him.
Not for nothing, but I think Tyson Chandler was every bit as good as Shane.
Tyson Chandler was damn good.
It's not better than the NBA.
And Shane Battier, man, he was just an average player. He was an average player in the NBA.
Eddie Curry had a couple good seasons with the Bulls, but then he went to your Knicks and Isaiah Thomas messed him up.
Well, it was his love interest because he was dealing with those damn chauffeurs. Come on, man. You got these little stories about him and the chauffeur. And it wasn't a girl. Get out of here with that.
What?
Man. Yeah, man. There's some serious stories up there about that, man. I can't confirm or deny. I'll just stay in the middle and laugh. That's it. That's what's going on. Yeah, man. But I remember seeing that. They had a story about him kind of the same way Sebastian Telfair had that through the fire story going through his high school years. he had that kind of story too when he was coming through Chicago. They was calling him Baby Shaq and all that. He got drafted. Hey, he lived his NBA dream. I don't know what's going on with him now, but he got to the NBA. That's what he wanted. So now basketball pretty much coming to a close. Football's getting closer.
Wait. I got something to say. Basketball, but it involves the girls.
Uh-oh.
So remember the first game the Fever played the Sky and the Fever won. Angel Reese did not speak to the media.
Of course not.
And I came on here and I said, she ain't shit because you know damn well if they won, she'd have made herself available to anybody and everybody.
Of course.
So after this guy won this weekend, she's saying, I didn't let us lose because I'm a dog. I'm a dog.
Yep.
And talking
three
all
games.
This shit. Weren't you a dog when you lost the other two games?
Yep. I mean, bro, I know her.
She played a great game. She had a monster game. Not trying to diss her for that. She had a monster game. She brought them back. She did. But come on, in context, were you not a dog for the first two L's they gave you?
Exactly. And look, I pretty much tuned her out, man. I mean, she's just as negative as they come. The people who support her mostly, they're negative because you can just see by their comments.
And then Cheryl Swoops was there to celebrate with her.
Of course, Cheryl Swoops is there. She's like hater number one. She's hater number one.
You finally beat her. Thank you so much. You finally beat her. Man,
they made this seem like Joe Louis and Max Schmeling, man. Come on, that's what they made it seem like, man. Joe Louis and Max Schmeling. They want that black guy to beat the white guy. We're behind you, man. And this is what it's come down to. It's not even basketball anymore when you're talking about the NBA.
It was just a regular season game to boot. It's not like it was playoffs or they just beat Caitlin Clark in game 7. What the fuck is Cheryl Swoops celebrating?
No, she's a bigot like she's always been. And by her comments, she's a bigot. And that's exactly what she is.
She can't be racist. She has white friends. She can't be racist. She has white friends, she says.
Yeah, right. And they got a line from the movie. We can't be racist because we don't have power. That's not even an original thought. This is some nonsense you heard on the movie or somewhere else. It's not an original thought. And it just makes I gotta say this. I gotta say this. When it comes to sports, there's a lot of black people that are racist. Oh, bro, I already know that. I know that already. But it's acceptable now because a lot of us, even though I'm not part of the people who think like that or want to be like that, I'm not part of the monolith of tribes, men and women who always believe that they're victims or believe that because of whatever had happened years ago that they had nothing to do with, their mothers or grandmothers didn't have anything to do with it. They could just kind of carry the burden of misery. They're the ones who just act that way and they think that they can just say this and they should get a pass because they do and say what they do. And it's bad because they're the only ones who think like that. Society at large is not thinking like that. And therefore, when they do something they believe is normal, and someone else doesn't allow them to do it, they get upset about it. These types of people, and if hit dogs holler, so you're upset about the comment, hit dogs holler. You're upset because, you're that type of person. But the people who aren't like that, they're reasonable. They take it for what it is, and they use sports as the diversion it's supposed to be from societal nonsense. We have a debate going on tonight between Trump and Biden. That's where you hold your politics. Sports is where you're supposed to come and kind of come together. It's allegedly bringing you together. It brought together a very racist freaking country when it was much more racist then than it is now. When Max Schmeling and Joe Louis got together for that one day, if nothing else at all, everybody was with Joe Louis and everybody was an American. And it was complete. That's it. It was complete homogeny. That's it.
Yeah, that's true. And I think we've talked about this before and we've mentioned that people complaining about Caitlin Clark being white, getting all this attention is bullshit because Tiger Woods isn't white. Nope. Serena and Venus aren't white.
Nope. And they got
why did they become super mega stars? They're talented.
Why did Diana Taurasi become a star? She came in with a lot of accolades from UConn. She didn't become a star. If you ask the average person in the street, they don't even know who the hell she is. The average person who knows sports or at least dabbles in sports wouldn't know who she is. Now we know that
because shooting from the logo.
Huh?
Because she wasn't shooting from the logo.
She wasn't shooting from the logo, but she was a field general. I watched her play up there in Connecticut. That's when they were on that ridiculous run. And I know that Gina Albriamo keeps saying a bunch of nonsense about little shade at Caitlyn every chance he gets because she's more popular than anybody he's ever had at UConn. That's why. But they don't like her simply because she's white. That's it. And you can see it in the comments. You have some people trying to act like they're reasonable, but as soon as you put that comment down that they just don't like or just take the wrong way, they're back to showing who they really are. They're talking about the Klan and all this other nonsense that's on their mind. They wake up in the morning wanting to be victims, looking for the damn problem every morning. Damn a solution. I'm waking up with that attitude, looking for the damn problem. If I can't find the problem, then you're the problem.
I don't know. I just think it's hilarious. Cheryl Swoops was celebrating as if this guy did something. I mean, they improved their record to 5-10 or 6-9 or something. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
you beat another team that's well under 500. You accomplished nothing.
And on top of that, the way that the coach of the Fever did not run plays through Caitlyn for the last 3 minutes.
She's hating on her own player.
I mean, come on, man. And then you have a clumsy ass teammate just missing every damn pass and all the other nonsense they do, looking like a clown machine. I'm starting to think they're conspiring. I don't even want to go there, but sometimes look like they are. And I know there are people who do watch this or end up watching it. They're going to have their own problem with what's being said because, well, hit dogs holler once again. But Caitlyn is the reason why we're even talking about the WNBA now. She's not there. We're still talking about the dark hole in sports about this time of year, not the WNBA in any way, like we would have done last year with no reason to talk about her. Asia Wilson, they know her now because of freaking Caitlin Clark. She was doing this last year. She was doing what? This is her second year, third year? But she was doing it. Well, anyway, she was doing it last year. No, Boston's second. This is Boston's second year, but she was doing it last year. And no one cared about it. No one knew about it outside of their little bubble. If the tree falls and no one's there to watch it, does it make a noise? Apparently not. It's making a noise this year only because all eyes on Caitlyn. Everyone else is not collateral damage. They're benefiting collaterally.
Yeah, I mean, attendance is up across the league. It's not just Caitlin Clark's games, but there's a difference between the Fever games and the rest of the league's games. But attendance is up across the league. It's like people are like,
anybody ever watching it at all?
Let me see these other girls. Let me see these other ladies. The Vegas is good. Let me check them out. Or
the Liberty's finally good.
Liberty's good. Let me check them out. Everybody's benefiting. Everybody's benefiting, but whatever.
Everybody's benefiting, but because they're catty, because they are emotional, and now because they're bigoted, they don't like how they got the attention. Before they complained about the attention. Now they're upset about the way they're getting the attention. And I'm always going to refer to that same stupid headline that I saw in USA Today before the season started, where they said that the face of the WNBA needs to be black. That is in black and white and what they had written as a headline on a major publication like USA Today. And they're trying to justify it. I think it was a white writer that even wrote it. You know how these white liberals are. They just want to just say things and act like they're on your side when they're just the biggest deficiency ever. They put that crap down. That it has to be, and then these people are following suit. They didn't even read I bet they did not read that article, but they're behaving the way that article wants them to behave. Yeah, we're entitled to have the success. If you weren't going to have success, it would have been last year, not this year.
I was talking to my homie, and he was saying something, and I was like, so you're saying Caitlin Clark needs to come out the closet, be lesbian, marry a chick, and get her pregnant? Like Brittany Griner.
Like Mr. Griner?
And that's exactly what I said, like Brittany Griner. He's like, oh, man, you're just being silly. I was like, you're the one talking about, I didn't bring up lesbians. I didn't bring up, he was talking about lesbians. So I asked him, and he said that I'm being silly. Well, don't bring up lesbians, bro.
Well, and that's what the league is. It seems like they're against her for everything. They're against her because they're predominantly, looks like it's predominantly lesbian. And then she's the white girl, so she's also a minority in the group. Just come on, man. We just have to use common sense. And I know people don't want to use common sense when it might just refute everything they think or believe. Imagine if this was the other way around. Imagine if it was someone like Angel Reese, who had gone into a league that's predominantly white, and she was hit and she was treated the way she was treated in the first game. We would have had a problem. There would have been players suspended. There would have been an outlash and backlash, all kind of lashes, fake lashes like they have. And people have been taking knees left and right over this nonsense. We already know how that would have gone. But now all of a sudden it's Caitlyn involved. Now everybody talks about how physical basketball is. Bro, it hasn't been that physical all these other years. Now all of a sudden the physical nature of the WNBA, it seems to be the highlight of what the WNBA is about. All of a sudden. It's still bad basketball.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I'm honest. I never watched the WNBA before.
For a little bit of I would never watch the entire game until this season. Now, you know what? I might have watched a game in the beginning when Rebecca Lobo first came into the league. That was it. Only because she was a UConn chick and came to the Liberty, first team in the WNBA. You know, that was probably it. That was way, way back. Now, the first full game from beginning to end was when Caitlyn was playing. That was it.
Yeah, we can move on.
Yeah,
NFL,
man.
What's up with
the
that?
NFL is on now, coming up. And ironically, we talked about last week, or it might have been on Monday as well, how Trevor Lawrence got this ridiculous big $200+ million contract, you know, and being the franchise player for the Jaguars, he got him to the playoffs in his second year. In his third year, he took a step back and looked like he regressed because I watched the games and saw that he was not throwing the way he was throwing. This is before the injury. And these quarterbacks are getting this huge money. And now Tua's time is coming to get the money. And then here the Dolphins is not even talking about that kind of a contract in that stratosphere yet with him. I mean,
it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me because I don't think you had to watch the Jacksonville Jaguar games to know that Trevor wasn't playing that well. You look at his stats, 12 for 21, 132 yards or something. You know,
one touchdown.
You don't need to watch to know that he's not playing very well. Tua put up numbers. He may have struggled against the top teams, but he still put up numbers. If anybody deserves a bag between the two, it's definitely Tua, not.
Yeah, you see these stories about he's not even being offered pretty much in the stratosphere of these elite quarterbacks or perceived elite quarterbacks. You know, and now we remember when Lamar Jackson got his bag, he was just up there. Now he's like going down the bottom of the list with his bag. And I think Tua deserves it. I know the injury history is still there. Well, at least it's still in your mind because it wasn't necessarily there last season. I wonder if this is one of those, they just want to see another season of him not getting as injured as much, even though there is an extra game for them to finally give him the bag, man. Just give this guy the bag. I don't think you can find anyone else outside of him right now that could come and plug and play and do what he had done last season and build on that if there's building to be done.
Well, I think it behooves the Dolphins to sign him now because if he has another monster season, you're going to have to pay him that much more next year.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth, man. So I don't know what the heck they're thinking, but yeah, man, of all people, man, and comes across as a nice guy, never any problems. You don't hear anything about him. When you're hearing about him, it's about either him having a good game or him being injured. Those are kind of the two stories you get. When he has bad games, you kind of lump him with the other players having bad games because there's a boatload of those guys. Yeah, but Tua deserves it.
He needs to stay healthy, and it would help if his weapons stayed healthy as well. They had a couple injuries last year.
Dan sure be helpful then. So what's going on there? Have you heard any news about Caleb Williams in the Chicago area now that training camp is about a month away? This is the 27th. Training camp's a month away.
No, things have been quiet. No reports, nothing really to talk about. Not much.
Yeah, because
they're making the rounds at baseball games, but that's to be expected. I mean, is that news? Who cares?
I know, right? People want to see some pads popping, man. See how this is going to turn out. But I know that I forgot which player on the Tennessee Titans was talking about. He can't wait to talk trash to him during it. Bro, talking trash to somebody, really, what does that mean? And if they end up winning, then what? And if you end up beating them, okay, the trash worked against a rookie. Come on. Yeah, but yeah.
I don't even know if they're on the schedule.
I don't know. Let me see.
They might, if they do, what are those called? The scrimmages against each other. Who knows? Fights usually break out in those.
The one that no one sees?
Yeah.
For real. And Isaiah Buggs from the Kansas City Chiefs arrested twice already. He's been released by the Kansas City Chiefs. So they're almost in.
What did he do?
I don't know what he did this time. I mean, let me see. I don't know if he's beating on somebody. 2 misdemeanor counts of second-degree animal cruelty. They don't want to have any Michael Vick. Didn't want to have any Michael Vick stories out there. So whatever, been over that bridge before. They don't want it anymore. So I don't know. Looking forward to this football season, this pro football season. Kansas City going for the three-peat in the NFL history in terms of just Super Bowl era. Never happened. So that's going to be something up against them. And with the longest season, 18 weeks or 18 games, 17 games, the straight up grind of the season is it's much more difficult now than ever before to get a three-peat. With that kind of beating, you're going to take in the meat grinder.
Yeah, that's true. But the Chiefs helped themselves out immensely in the draft.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm waiting to see him.
So they may have made Mahomes' job easier. That's a scary thought, man. Like, he got more weapons, more speed on the outside. Whew, it's gonna open up the middle more, man.
Yep.
I don't know.
And I'm just hoping that there are other teams that can pick it up. Preferably the Jets picking it up now that Aaron Rodgers is going into his first year as a New York Jet. Let's say that his first year, that crap he did last year, he didn't play. He's going into his first year. See what happens.
They should just run him out of shotguns. Just have shotgun formation. Don't want him to turn and hand the ball.
Man, with the line we had last year, that didn't matter.
That's how he got hurt. Turning around and hand the ball off. No, just stand there, catch the ball, find an open receiver, throw it.
Yeah, do it instinctively, man. Just get it out there. But yeah, man. And now college football, coming up as well. We know all about that. Nick Saban, Alabama's not going to have Nick Saban anymore. Du Bois from Washington's now coaching over there. So Georgia, I think, is still going to be the top team going into this season, I would believe, because Ohio State, even though they go by 5 stars, they actually have the most talented team allegedly in college football. It still has to work out. But Georgia, just as much as the same, but they bring back their quarterback, which I don't think is a great thing. I think it's just a good thing with Carson Beck coming back. Last year we had J.J. McCarthy coming back for Michigan, and that was the reason why I thought Michigan should have been number 1 to begin with in the beginning of the season, just based on that, because all the other teams in the top 4, they had new quarterbacks outside of Michigan. But anyways, we got college football coming up.
You say college football in this June. The only thing I think of, man, I got to get my copy of EA Sports College Football.
Oh, yeah. When is it coming out?
I don't know, but after we're done with the show, I'm going to find out.
Yeah, man. They were in a hiatus, man. Got to wait for more. And now, I think, are they part of that NIL deal? Are they going to start paying players to use their name?
Yeah, they are. I forgot. There's some number they're giving players, but I can't remember what it is. It's not even that much.
It's like a class action lawsuit, man. Everybody getting that. Everybody that's involved will start getting paid. Now that team from New Mexico State, that punter, you're gonna have to know his name now, and you're gonna have to take that some of it. Yeah, man, I can see that. Baseball wise, if you want to just talk about baseball to close this out, just for the heck of it, how we came to close it out. The Yankees is one of the freaking 2. The last 8 games got swept by the freaking Mets. The JV, are you kidding me? Baseball as a whole, they're not getting the buzzer to the All-Star game anyway.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't even think about that. Like, I'm so disillusioned with the White Sox.
That's like 2 weeks from now, 2.5 weeks from now.
I'm apathetic at this point. I don't watch no baseball. I haven't heard one mention of the All-Star game. Wow, that's pretty sad, man. The All-Star game growing up used to be one of my favorite.
It's the only real All-Star game where guys really play.
Yeah.
You get the. Well, when the NFL did have their Pro Bowl, when they were hitting, we already know what that was, 2-hand touch with unless Sean Taylor was playing. When they had just 2-hand touch with helmets on. Hockey, they scored like 15 goals.
I just got to do it again, man. I got to salute Cherry Reinsdorf for ruining baseball for me.
He doesn't want to bring anybody in, man. You got only top-heavy teams. Chicago's a major market, man. You got to bring the darn players. The Cubs can't be the only ones out there bringing in players. The damn White Sox can't do it.
No, but it's funny because like a month ago on my timeline, I see Cubs win. And I don't watch baseball. I don't care if the Cubs win. I don't care if they lose. I don't. But last couple of weeks, I haven't been seeing nothing on my timeline. And then I hear on the radio they're in last place. I'm like, no wonder why I haven't seen it.
Yeah, chirping.
What happened? What happened, guys?
You know how that goes, man. People ain't say nothing. It's kind of like they got the Angel Reese effect. But they start getting better. See, we're dogs, man. We gonna win. We are here to get a World Series. Yeah, all right, keep it up. Yeah, well, boxing. I guess we can finish on that. Dubois and AJ are fighting on September 21st. And the worst part about it, though, they're stripping Usyk of the IBF title. They're stripping him of his title. They made Dubois the interim IBF champ, but now they just raised him to the legitimate IBF champ. So now that AJ, when he likely beats him up, gets the title.
That's retarded because Usyk beat both of them. Technically, I think Dubois knocked him out. That was not a low blow.
Yeah.
But he beat AJ twice. And, I mean, has it even been a month since he beat Fury? Barely a month?
About a month, yeah.
And give the man time to defend against his mandatory.
Well, it's these freaking sanctioning bodies because there's a lot more money to be made with AJ anyway, but the crowds that he brings and the pay-per-views that he gets, then even Usyk, as dynamic as Usyk has been. And then not only that, it takes away from now the rematch that he's going to have with Fury. Now it's not about undisputed champion anymore. It's about another splintered championship, and that's it. Well, I guess if Ring Magazine belt matters and being pound for pound on number one or on the list in the top three, that's helpful, but it's not official. And it's BS. And it's the IBF doing what the IBF has always done from their BS rules to when they say you have to weigh in, and then they take it back and say you don't have to weigh in before a fight, the second time, to something like this. Making it an interim championship. Now you're making him the full championship just so you believe AJ is going to beat him, which I do, and I think he might be my decision. But he's going to get the title and have the belt again. What now?
I don't know, but did you see Fury, what he's been saying?
I ignored him. He was it was an easy fight.
About the fight, it was an easy fight, and he was taking him too lightly, and he got caught. Well, dude, come on, man. Just take your loss.
Bro, what is up with these fighters between he and Deontay Wilder, man? These fights, and when they lose, they just can't figure it out, and they don't want to admit it. You have other fighters like that, man, but I don't think they're as bad as these guys when they freaking lose. They have a whole song and dance. I mean, all they need is a Kango in a cardboard box with a boom box. You know what I mean? That's it. They need to dance on that one. And I don't know. It takes a lot away from the fighters that they lose to. But Usyk is such a class dude, man. I don't think he even cares about that. He knows what he's done. We saw what he has done. And by the way, have you seen the last or latest video of Oscar De La Hoya talking about Devin Haney?
No, I didn't.
He's just talking about, he's calling him pathetic. And you know what? He's saying a lot of things. He said he calls him pathetic. He said, but no one's going to forget the beating that you all saw, the beating that you had gotten. You dancing in the bowling alley because they overturned and gave you a new contest. What I don't like is that, yeah, you're saying this, but you're acting like there was no reason for it. You're acting like there was no reason for the no contest. A lot of these other degenerate fans who will like that, because those are degenerate fans who just act like the cheating wasn't part of it. Well, we saw you get your ass beat, and that's it. Yeah, we also get his ass beat, but now we also know he got his ass beat with a lot of assistance from PEDs. We now know that part. But you leave that part out, as boxing fans do. They compartmentalize always in the worst way, just to point out the person they like. If they didn't like him, they'll be defending the nonsense, saying, yeah, he should have gotten it turned over. This guy still should be undefeated. It goes both ways.
So, back in the 80s, the Bears played the Redskins in the regular season, and they beat them pretty handily. And something happened to the punter. So, Joe Theismann had to punt. And he punted it, and the ball basically went sideways. It registered as a 1-yard punt. And, McMahon was doing things. He was a little wacky, quirky, whatever you want to call him. And he made comments about Jim McMahon. I don't remember the exact comments, but they asked Jim McMahon about Theismann's comments about him. And he said, I don't pay attention to gentlemen that can't punt more than 1 yard. So I'm going to say now, I don't pay attention to gentlemen that trash their dead mothers. Fuck De La Hoya.
Oh, yeah, De La Hoya. Yeah, I'm not getting over that. That's what made I was always on De La Hoya's bandwagon, because that guy's resume is still, even with Floyd Mayweather's resume, it's still the best resume.
He's always been an asshole. He's still an asshole. Fuck.
Threw your mom under the bus, man. That was it for me. That was it. I mean, seriously, you trashed your father all these years, and now you're gonna, oh, he really finally accepted me after the Tito fight when I lost, and now your mom, who you used as your beacon of hope, at least to us, all these years, you threw her to the bus the way you did. That was just heartless, man, cold-blooded. That's what it was. But anyway, we got to be cold-blooded and come back on Monday. So
his
that'll
dad
be
should
the end
have
of
beat
the
his
show.
ass for that.
Who?
His dad should have beat his ass for that.
Well, I bet if he had a belt, he'd do it now too. If Oscar is still sober. In any event, he's biased. I'm Trav, and the Sports Bag Bros podcast will come back at you on Monday when something likely is going to happen between now and Monday, between Bronny James going and then other things that can open up over the weekend. We'll have something for you on Monday. But until then, deuces.
Peace.